Abducted Kuriga children home at last as Nigerian Army confirms using both kinetic and non-kinetic strategies in rescue mission. Sheikh Gumi has been summoned by the federal government over his remarks on bandits' activities. And after 40 years, a Kano community finally sees relief from acute water shortage. And on the foreign scene, Senegal's opposition candidate Faye set to become president as rival concedes defeat. Hello and welcome to Trust News Hour tonight. I am Eugenia Abu. We start with cheering news. The Nigerian military has revealed the successful rescue of the 137 abducted Kaduna school children in Zamfara State, saying it employed both kinetic and non-kinetic methods as the children were freed after 16 days in captivity. Details of the specific strategy used were not disclosed by General Sarasu, the General Officer 1 Division of the Army. Trust TV's Bello Musa was at the Kaduna State Government House for the release of the school children back to their parents.
After enduring 16 days in captivity, the Kuriga school children arrived at the government house around 2 p.m., where they were warmly welcomed by top government officials headed by Chief of Staff Sani Kila. The General Officer commanding 1 Division Nigerian Army provided details on the number of students present for the handover. Among the rescued children were 76 females and 61 males, totaling 137 individuals, excluding the deceased teacher.
In all, there were 137 children and 1 staff member, making a total of 138 persons altogether that were abducted on that ill-fated day from the 2 schools. But here this afternoon, unfortunately, the staff member, Mr. Abubakar, is not here with us because he was reported to have died while in captivity.
The General Officer commanding assured the government that the students were initially medically evaluated in Zamfara State. He further stated that once the remaining 6 hospitalized students fully recover, they will be promptly handed over to the state government.
Safely rescued after spending about 16 days in captivity. The students were initially received and administered first aid at the Nigerian Army Troops Forward Operating Base at Dansadao Forest in Zamfara State, close to where they were rescued, before being served refreshment, and from where they were subsequently conveyed under our escort to Kaduna.
In his remarks, Governor Obasani cautioned against making statements that could undermine the effort of the security agencies.
We decided from the beginning not to focus on the issue of politics, because security, like I've always said, is not politics. We have to be cautious. We should not politicize the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. And that is the reason why we are very discreet in the way we approach this issue, and today we are successful. But any attempt to continue to undermine the effort of the security agencies in Nigeria in the name of politics is jeopardizing the lives and properties of our innocent citizens in Nigeria.
The safe return of the school children has renewed public confidence in the capabilities of the security forces to stabilize the growing insecurity in Kaduna, even as the challenges continued unabated. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
And still on the matter, the federal government has disclosed that ransom was not paid to effect the release of the school children abducted in the Kuriga area of Kaduna State. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Muhammad Idris, disclosed this while addressing State House correspondents on Monday.
Mr. President and members of Council, we're happy to note that As promised by Mr. President, these children were reunited or have been rescued from these captives. And as usual, and in keeping with the commitment of Mr. President, no ransom was paid. We are very grateful to the Federal Executive Council and Mr. President are very grateful to especially the National Security Advisor, the service chiefs, and all security agents who participated diligently in ensuring that these kidnapped children are reunited with their families.
In the meantime, the federal government says Ahmad Gumi, the Kaduna-based Islamic cleric, has been invited for questioning over his comments on the activities of bandits in the country. The Minister of Information and Orientation, Muhammad Idris, disclosed this on Monday while addressing journalists at the State House, Abuja. Idris said Gumi is not above the law, noting that the government has deemed it necessary to invite him for questioning. Over the past few years, Gumi has gained prominence for his comment on the activities of bandits. Recently, he said terrorism in the country is not financed by Nigerians, but by the terrorists who kidnap people for ransom. In another development, the Plateau State Police Command on Monday said it has deployed police personnel to the affected communities of Mikang and Lantan local government areas where crises between Montol and Taro ethnic groups erupted on Saturday over land dispute. Reports say Saturday's clash resulted in the loss of 9 persons and destruction of houses, barns, as well as rustling of cattle in the areas. Reacting to the development, the spokesperson of the State Police Command, DSP Alfred Alabo, disclosed that the swift reaction of the police prevented the escalation of the crisis. Meanwhile, the State Commissioner of Information and Communication, Ibrahim Musa Ashom, on Monday condemned the crisis, assuring that security personnel have been deployed to the affected area.
We woke up yesterday with this gory story that people who had lived together all their lives decided to take up arms in an issue they would have resolved amicably. You know, there are alternative dispute resolution mechanisms that when we explore them, nobody is going to be hurt. But in this case, that was not used. People pick up arms against brothers and sisters, and unfortunately, we lost 6 persons, and we have about 30 persons who are badly injured, and about 40 houses were touched, and food bans were raised. So it's quite unfortunate. It happened because of land disputes. Where you have common boundaries, you find people having such issues.
And still talking security, several terrorists of the Islamic State West Africa province and Boko Haram sects were on Sunday killed when the Nigerian Air Force bombed their hideouts in the Tumbuns near Lake Chad. The NAF airstrikes under Operation Hadinkai decimated the insurgents, according to a statement on Monday by the Nigeria Air Force spokesman Edward Gov't. NAF said the operation conducted at a location northwest of Arena Woje in the Tumbuns became necessary after intelligence revealed the presence of terrorist hideouts at the location. Gov't also said intelligence had also confirmed an activation of terrorist activities around clusters of structures concealed under trees near the location. He added that after the strikes, a post-strike battle damage assessment revealed several terrorists were neutralized and their hideouts set ablaze, thereby degrading their capabilities to attack surface forces. The Akwa Ibom State Command of the Department of State Services, DSS, says it has apprehended 4 suspects involved in kidnapping and terrorizing the state. A statement by the command on Friday noted that the suspects were behind the abduction of Ayobambe, the manager of Me Lounge, a relaxation spot at Osangama Estate, Uyo, and 2 others on the 27th of January 2024. The statement listed the suspects to include Idris Abdullahi, Abel Ekong, Itoro Efyong, and Isisong Efyong. It explained that the quartet, who have confessed to the crime, are part of a notorious syndicate that has been terrorizing the state and masterminded several kidnap incidents in recent times. The DSS said the suspects will be arraigned in court after investigations, while a manhunt for other fleeing members is ongoing. And now to Bauchi, where the death toll from a stampede at the venue of a Zakat alms-giving event in Bauchi State on Sunday has increased to 7, with 3 additional women reported dead. The stampede occurred at the Shafa Holdings Company PLC headquarters along Jos Road during the distribution of the Zakat items by a Bauchi-based philanthropist. The distribution was said to have begun smoothly, with beneficiaries, mostly women, called in groups to receive items until restlessness, among others, led to a struggle to gain access to the premises. A spokesman of the State Police Command, SP Ahmed Wakili, in an interview with journalists on Monday, disclosed that 2 more women died at the Tafawa Balewa University Teaching Hospital, adding that the 3rd woman died at home. Life is set to change for the better in Danya village, a Kano community in Kano State that suffered acute water shortage for over 40 years. This follows the drilling of borehole in the village located 23 kilometers away from Bichi town by the state government. Ahmad Dati's report is hereby presented.
Though the village has electricity and access road, it has been without water for years. Residents of Danya trek a distance of 2 or 3 kilometers to fetch water at a stream. Sometimes they face competition from animals who want to drink from the same water source. Few who can afford it buy water from Malikawa village, also few kilometers away. Locals here say this problem of water scarcity has been here for over 40 years. We have been experiencing water scarcity in this village for a very long time. In fact, I grew up knowing this problem and I am 45 years old. We go from here to Malikawa with our motorbikes to buy potable water. This is, however, about to change now as water survey exercise has been completed and drilling of a borehole begins almost immediately. We have observed how women and children suffer a lot from getting water here. This exposes them to many dangers over the years. The Kano State Governor has instructed that we put an end to their problem, so we believe that this is the best time for our intervention. The next village after Danya is Kialimbula. Although facing the same problem, water scarcity here is not as aggravated like it is in Danya. A borehole will be drilled to bring succor to residents who for so long have paid for water through their noses.
Ramadan fast is in day 15 today, with a tough economic situation caused by high food prices. The feeling is that of lamentation and also of gratitude to Almighty Allah. Jimmy Azande spoke to a cross-section of Muslim faithful in Makurdi, the state capital, and files in this report.
Most of the Muslim faithful who speak to Trust TV say they appreciate Almighty Allah for His provision in the holy month of Ramadan. They, however, added that this year is not comparable to others because of the harsh economic reality across the country. They stressed that despite relentless cry by Nigerians, the cost of living has continued to soar in the state and the country at large. Every commodity has soared in prices in the market. Prices of rice and beans that are common food have continued to rise, and this has resulted in poor patronage even at Ramadan. A tin of rice is now 28 and 29,000 naira. A bag of beans is now between 140 and 150,000 naira. A bag of onions is now 135,000 naira. According to them, the high cost of living has made families to cut down their daily rations.
God carry us forth into this year, but everything is very, very difficult because for the price on the market is very, very high. Everything especially with food items, orange, watermelon, and all these things on YouTube. Breakfast is very, very difficult. But we thank God, sir, as we be alive, God keep us alive. By the grace of God, we are going to finish it softly.
Anything what would I buy before 200 naira, about 500 naira, but we thank God with the manager, with the manage everything. Anything what we get, at least we will take breakfast. This year I didn't change. This year watermelon small, we cut it 200. Orange about 250 naira. But you know, so with the buyer with the manager. This now is Modu 1,000. This small Modu 1,600, 1,500. Anyhow, with the manager.
My advice to every one of us is that we should not just idle. No matter how little we can do, let us engage ourselves in little something. God promised us that if you are blessed the work of your hand, if we can strive and do God, God will surely bless our life.
When Trust TV inquired if there was any palliative from the government, the Muslim faithful say for now, it is everyone for himself. They again advised the government to at least regulate the cost of food commodities to avert the hunger crisis against Nigerians. Jimmy Azandi, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
Governor Hyacinth Alia at the weekend directed the suspension of all mining activities pending a verification exercise to collect all mining data in Benue State. Alia gave the order while inaugurating 60 mining marshals drawn from the personnel of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps at the Government House in Makurdi to curb illegal mining of solid minerals across the state. The governor, who was represented by his deputy, Barrister Sam Ode, said he would not tolerate any illegality in the state, stressing the need for the civil defense personnel not to relent in combating crimes. He said the personnel are expected to collaborate with members of the Mineral Resources and Environment Management Committee to defend the interests of the people of Benue State. Former Kaduna State Governor Malam Nasir El-Rufai again met with another chieftain of the Social Democratic Party, SDP. The move further fueled speculation about his future political plans. El-Rufai was pictured at the Abuja residence of Senator Abubakar Gada, along with SDP Chairman Shehu Musa Gabam and other party leaders. The former governor of Kaduna State was accompanied by Senator Teslim Folarin, the All Progressives Congress APC gubernatorial candidate for Oyo State in the 2023 general elections, and Senator Nazif Suleiman, a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party PDP from Bauchi State. El-Rufai had last week visited the SDP Secretariat in Abuja. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has vowed that he will continue to defeat those opposing him in Rivers State. Wike, who disclosed this at an event in Abuja, recalled how he came under pressure in 2023 to choose his successor, saying that Chinda would have been one of the very best he would have presented as his successor. He called on the people of the state to keep supporting the Speaker and members of the House, saying it was not possible for the executive to crave independence and try to deny the lawmakers of their independence. The FCT minister went down memory lane to recount some of the projects he executed as the governor, noting that in his time, Rivers State stood out and was respected across the country. Wike challenged his detractors and those he described as expert petition writers to drag him to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, informing them that he had no immunity.
Pressure came on me. Pressure came at the time we wanted who would succeed me. Pressure came. One of the very best I would have presented would have been Chinda. One of the very best. Don't forget people going from one place to the other. They are forming this. They are allowed. Don't dissipate your energy Don't worry yourself. The time will come. We'll say, who knows the game? You play the game. Leave these political harlots. Leave these political challenges. I will continue to defeat them.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, has urged intending pilgrims that still wish to participate in the 2024 Hajj to add 1.9 million naira to the 4.9 million naira they have already paid. The Commission, in a statement by its spokesperson Fatima Sanda Usara, said the increase should be paid latest by 28 March 2024, as it will shut down its system and no other payment would be accommodated after that. Fatima Usara advised those seeking to withdraw their registration for the 2024 Hajj to formally request a refund from their respective states. She further explained that previously, NACON requested an extension which was reluctantly granted. The increase takes the Hajj fare to 6.8 million naira from the 4.9 million naira that was announced in February. This is News Hour, reaching you from Trust TV. Coming up, despite government promises, consumers decry difficulties in metering project amidst billing challenges. More news when we return. Do stay. Thank you. If you're just joining us, this is on Trust TV. Another look at our top stories. Abducted Kuriga children home at last, as Nigerian Army confirms using both kinetic and non-kinetic strategies in rescue mission. And Sheikh Gumi has been summoned by the federal government over his remarks on bandits' activities. And moving on now, President Bola Tinubu on Monday approved the Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund to bridge Nigeria's infrastructure gap. Nigeria will require $2 billion per year to bridge the funding gap of 828 billion naira by 2040. Minister of Information Muhammad Idris gave newsmen this information at State House Abuja, and he gave the breakdown after Monday's Federal Executive Council meeting. Kainde Amodu now reports.
Bridging Nigeria's infrastructure gap has been an ongoing conversation for the past 2 decades. In fact, the Buhari administration spent 2 terms harping on capital projects to bridge the infrastructure gap. At the end of the day, the gap remains as wide as ever. 8 months into his first term, President Tinubu has caught the Bridge the Gap bug and is setting up a Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund that would focus on road, rail, agriculture, ports and aviation.
And this is expanding the initial Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund that we have. And this, our Renewed Hope Infrastructure Development Fund, unifies efforts, streamlining project delivery for maximum impact. It accelerates infrastructure development, sparking economic dynamism nationwide. And the key objective of the fund is to invest in nationally critical projects in sectors that will promote growth, enhance local value addition through backward, forward, and parallel linkages, create employment opportunities, promote technological innovation, promote exports.
Meanwhile, President Tinubu has asked all members of his administration to fast-track people-oriented government activities such as consumer credit, student loans and other social programs. To this end, the President has given the go-ahead for the establishment of the Economic Management Team Task Force, which has 6 months to design the administration's economic revitalization programs.
Below that, there is now, instead of just the Economic Management Team, a Economic Management Team Task Force. And for the next 6 months, that task force made up of selected members of the Economic Management Team, the private sector, as well as the subnationals, as well as the governors, the Nigerian representatives of the Nigerian Governors Forum will work assiduously to ensure that having dealt with major issues of monetary and fiscal policy, that the real sector growth is assured.
On the critical issue of funding, Nigeria is now a member of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development that focuses on agribusiness, infrastructure, transport, and many other sectors. It is already getting offers on Eurobond to finance the programs of government, in addition to which it has secured agricultural support worth 15 billion yen from a Japanese agency. From State House Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
And now to education. Academic activities in universities across Kano State have resumed following the suspension of the 7-day warning strike by the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, and the Non-Academic Staff Union, NASU. The strike action was suspended following a directive from the national body of the associations. According to SANU Secretary at the Bayero University, Kano, Nura Garba, the suspension is temporary as the national body is billed to meet with the federal government and other stakeholders on Wednesday. The week-long strike action in some of the universities in the state affected activities as students missed examinations when the associations shut the gate of BUK. However, it was gathered that activities had returned to normal as all units and departments had reopened for full operations in universities across the state. Part of the issues that led to the strike action are renegotiation of the 2009 agreement, the issue of 25-35% of salary increment, minimum wage arrears, and the issue of the 50 billion naira the government promised as earned allowances. And life has returned to normal to federal universities across the country following the suspension of the one-week warning strike over salary arrears. At the University of Lagos, our correspondent reports that members of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions, NASU, were seen at their duty on Monday. Victoria Tokolo has more.
The Joint Action Committee Union, comprising the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, the Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions, and the National Association of Academic Technologists, on Monday called off their 7-day warning strike as they all resumed at their duty posts. The 7-day warning strike, which began on Monday 18th of March 2024, was initiated due to withheld salaries.
This strike is not on suspension. It's a 7 days warning strike. And we have engaged in the strike. The strike ended midnight of yesterday. So that strike has been achieved. If the government does not attend to our demands, it is the national body that will also call for a national meeting. And at the end of the meeting, a decision will be taken whether to go on another 14 days warning strike or 21 days warning strike or indefinite strike. It depends on the directive of the national body. We don't have the financing. It's the directive of the national that is guiding our decisions here.
For my own union, which is NASU, it only lasted for 4 months. Same with SANU, because we went under the umbrella of JAC. And then Ngigi came up with the no work, no payment policy. But last year, after the election, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came in and he said he's given a 4-month waiver for all the university-based unions, irrespective of their affiliations. And to our surprise, the man who was like a mediator then, former House of Representative Speaker, Honorable Femi Gbadabiamila, now the Chief of Staff to the President, single-handedly wrote to the Makata General to pay only ASU. I mean, who does that? 4 unions went on strike, and now you are writing to the Makata General to pay only 1 out of those 4 unions, segregating the other 3 unions. It's not fair. So that was what led to these 7 days protest, which was directed by our national body.
Despite the lack of a formal agreement, all non-teaching staff across federal universities in the country have returned to work following a directive from the national body. Their hope is that the federal government will engage more constructively with their leaders to resolve the salary payment issues at Wednesday's meeting between the unions and the federal government.
And from education to energy, electricity consumers across the country have decried the difficulties faced while trying to secure prepaid meters. This is despite the availability of several metering schemes nationwide. In this report, Noel Samson speaks to the former chairman of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, Sam Amadi, on some of the challenges facing the metering schemes as well as the preferences of Nigerians on billing systems. Here's that report.
According to energy market and rate consultants, the metering gap in Nigeria exists due to resistance to change, as many consumers are typically reluctant to adopt the installation of meters due to concerns about capital costs, perceived inconvenience, and apprehensions about transitioning to a new billing methodology. However, even though these customers are not on the other side of the divide as they prefer being metered, they are nevertheless discouraged by the stress of getting the meters.
I prefer the prepaid meter because when you have the prepaid meter, there is no complaint of anything estimated billing. Personally, about myself, I haven't applied for it. But for those who applied earlier, there was no difficulties. But now we don't know what is happening. People will apply and they will not get the prepaid meter.
Paid is you pay, you consume what you paid for. A friend of mine have experienced it. The process of, you get to sort somebody, you know somebody that knows somebody, before you can be able to get the prepaid meter. It's not what you apply and get it willingly. You need to sort yourself, before getting it.
I prefer prepaid meter.
Why, sir?
Because prepaid meter is the best. If there is no light, you won't pay. But if there is light, you will pay what you use. It's money. For now, it's money. Like the one I have in my place, I got it without money. Yeah, I got it in Mandala branch, and I fill form and they give it to me. Very easy. But for now, I think it's pay. People are paying for that now.
Prepared.
Why?
It's more easier to maintain compared to those paying for estimated. Because I found it easier now that I have my own. Well, at first we were told it was free of charge, that government were giving people meter free of charge. But when we went to get it, we got to find out that we have to pay. As of that time, it was my dad actually made the payment. It was around 60,000 or thereabouts. And before the meter came, it took up to like 3 to 4 months before we could get a meter in the house. I think it was very healthy, and I know some persons were even fighting in the office.
Corruption is said to be one of the reasons why there are insufficient meters in Nigeria, a situation that makes getting metered difficult. Dr. Sam Amadi is a former chairman of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, speaks on the issue.
And so the first problem is that they don't have the financing to mass procure meter. The second is the incentive to quick ramp up of installation. And thirdly, incentives. Some people think that these discos are making more money from estimated. So why bother to make this investment except the regulator pushes them? So you see this three interplay, and that's why meter availability is poor.
At the time of filing this report, officials of the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company were yet to respond to Trust TV's inquiries. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
In an effort to fight against tuberculosis disease in Bauchi State, people who have persistent cough symptoms have been advised to use diagnosis and treatment centers at various local government areas of the state. This was disclosed during a press briefing in commemoration of the World Tuberculosis Day, celebrated globally on the 24th of March by the World Health Organization, WHO. Trust TV's Adamu Imam has that report.
This year's commemoration of World Tuberculosis Day is designed to build public awareness that TB remains an epidemic in most parts of the world, causing death of nearly 1.5 million people each year, mostly in developing countries. Nigeria ranks 6th among the high-burden countries in the world and first in Africa. Against this background, health experts said in 2023, Bauchi State detected and notified 9,332 drugs susceptible TB cases as against 7,806 in 2022.
Is we can end tuberculosis, and I believe we can end it. Reason because among all the chronic diseases, tuberculosis is a disease that once you start medication, you can achieve 100% cure. Because unless otherwise, if there's a problem, and those problems are well known to all of us, the faulty drug, and probably having some infection with drug-resistant strain of Mycobacterium tuberculosis.
On the issue of distance of the facility for tuberculosis patients to access, the health expert says they have already put measures in place to address that.
Of drugs, because we have adequate supply of drugs. We don't have issue of diagnosis because we have fairly widespread diagnostic centers. What our main challenge is for people that are coughing for 2 weeks or more. Anybody that is coughing for 2 weeks or more is presumed to have tuberculosis, and therefore he should go to the nearest center where this diagnosis can be made free of charge. And if he is found to have TB, the treatment is for 6 months and the drugs is free of charge. So our main challenge in a nutshell is that people are not accessing the services.
The breakthrough action in collaboration with Bakatma, however, enjoined media and relevant stakeholders to create awareness that tuberculosis disease is curable. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Some traders at the ATD line building materials section of Bridgehead Market, Onitsha, in Anambra State, have been thrown into mourning following a midnight fire that gutted the market, destroying goods worth billions of naira. The fire, according to eyewitnesses, completely razed 4 shops and affected about 8 others, with goods running into millions. Narrating the ordeal, one of the victims, Chigozie Akawogu, an iron and steel dealer whose shop was affected, said many of them were still counting their losses. After the incident, he said he lost over 35 million naira worth of goods, while his sister, who deals in accessories, Onyinyechi Ezeku, lost goods worth over 25 million naira to the inferno. The visibly devastated trader lamented that the fire also burnt 1 million naira cash he left in his shop. The Secretary, Amalgamated Timber Dealers Association, Augustine Ezekugo, described the incident as unfortunate and unexpected, saying they had never experienced such in the market before. The chairman of the House Committee on Monitoring and Evaluation says the success or failure of the 10th House of Representatives rests squarely on the effectiveness or otherwise of the monitoring and evaluation by the committee. He says to this end, the Monitoring and Evaluation Panel had last week written over 50 committees of the House to submit their quarterly reports from the inception of the 10th House to the 31st of March. Agwocha said this at a one-day capacity building workshop for the House Committee on Monitoring and Evaluation of Implementation of Legislative Agenda and Committee on Monitoring and Evaluation of the Standing Ad Hoc Committees organized by NILDS, the Conrad Foundation, and the Office of the Speaker in Abuja on Monday. According to him, the panel has also drafted the 10th House Committee's evaluation metrics with uniquely assigned key performance indicators that align with different committees' mandates and major activities, as well as rating mechanisms for each activity line. The Office of the National Security Advisor, NSA, says an executive of cryptocurrency platform Binance, Nadeem Anjarwalla, has escaped from custody. He is a suspect in the federal government's ongoing probe into Binance activities in Nigeria. But he escaped from custody on Friday, the NSA office said in a Monday statement by its spokesman, Zachary Mijinyawa. According to the statement, preliminary investigation shows that Anjarwalla fled Nigeria using a smuggled passport, adding that personnel responsible for the custody of the suspect have been arrested, while a thorough investigation is ongoing to unravel the circumstances that led to his escape from lawful detention. Until his escape, Anjarwalla, who holds British and Kenyan citizenship and serves as Binance's Africa Regional Manager, was facing trial in Nigerian courts. The suspect escaped while under a 14-day remand order by a court. He was scheduled to appear before it again on April 4th, 2024. Nigeria's crackdown on Binance started months after the platform pleaded guilty to money laundering charges against it by the United States Department of Justice. Time now to join Yusuf Akogu from the Business Department for Business News.
Welcome to Business News. I am Yusuf Akogu. The Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria is meeting for another policy rate decisions less than a month after it raised MPR by 400 basis points, with most of the members of the Monetary Policy Committee taking a hawkish stance last month. Expectations are high that another rate increase will be delivered at the end of the meeting on Tuesday. At the first meeting under Governor Olayemi Cardoso, the monetary policy rate was jacked up to 22.75% from 18.75%. A member of the MPC was alleged to have voted for as high as 450 basis points increase, while Mr. Cardoso wanted an increase of 425 basis points. Former Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Kingsley Moghalu, say it is wishful thinking for those expecting the exchange rate to return to 400 naira to the dollar. Moghalu, in his X page, formerly Twitter, said those who want the naira to exchange at 400 naira to the dollar are living in a dream world. He argued that artificial demand created by speculators is bleeding the economy. According to Moghalu, Nigeria's economy is not productive enough to support the export market. Moghalu noted that the sooner the government focuses on painstaking creation of a value-added manufacturing export economy that ends forex beyond oil in real and significant terms, the better for the country. Now to food commodities. Food prices continue to surge in Nigeria as cost of beef increased by over 30%. Let's see how it looks like now. Beef in Lagos for 1 kg is 4,500 naira. Chicken at well, the horrible one, the big size of it, they call it 1 kg in Abuja here is going for 4,500. Turkey, if you want to buy the wings in Port Harcourt, you need 6,500 naira to buy 1 kg of that. And of course, goat meat, a portion of it in Lokoja and Kogi State is going for 4,000 naira. While Apo fish, 12 pieces of it in Kaduna and northwestern Nigeria is going for 9,000 naira indeed. Of course, from there, we move straight to the stock market. And of course, the equity market opened the week in red, following profit taken by speculators. Let's see how it went down. Dangote Sugar, the biggest loser for the day, losing 10% there to close at 53 naira and 10 kobo per share. International Energy Insurance down 10% as well to close at 1 naira and 35 kobo per share. Of course, Ikeja Hotel also losing 9.72% to close at 5 naira and 85 kobo per share. Of course, this has brought down the market by 0.49%. Volume of trade 301.264 million. Shares value at 11.209 billion naira. In a list of 9,212 did exchange hands among investors today. Let's look at some of the top trading equities today. We have NIDF, recording a remarkable top trading equities there. 35.547 million shares traded. Giants Bank 23.15 million shares, and of course UBA 19.518 million shares indeed traded as well. Of course, we have some equities that recorded gains today. Top on that list is LRX gaining 10% to close at 3 naira and 63 kobo per share. Morrison 9.93%, 1 naira 55 kobo per shares. It ended on the day. Of course, NEM Insurance gaining 9.84% to close at 10 naira and 60 kobo per shares. So the highlight of the stock trading as it went down this Monday, the first trading day of the week. Let's see the global stock market for today. Naira gain against the US dollar has boosted the wealth of Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, to $15.3 billion. Let's see today's market data. The Russian oil export funding the Kremlin war in Ukraine is finally getting some grit in its gear. India Oil Refiners, Moscow's second biggest customer after China since the 2022 invasion, will no longer accept tankers owned by state-run Sovcomflot PJSC because of the risk posed by sanctions. On the London market, European Brent sells for $85 per barrel. For the oil basket, price drops to $84 for a barrel. And that's business. I am Yusuf Akogu.
Thank you, Yusuf, for the business update. And away from Nigeria, results trickling in since polls closed on Sunday evening in the first round of a delayed presidential election suggest that opposition candidate Faye 44 may have clinched an outright majority. The trends announced on local media sparked street celebrations by his supporters in the capital, Dakar. Ruling coalition candidate Amadou Ba, 62, initially called the celebrations premature and said a run-off vote would be needed to determine the winner. But he then called Faye on Monday to offer his congratulations, a government spokesman told journalists. In light of presidential election result trends, and while we await the official proclamation, I congratulate Faye for his victory in the first round, Ba said in a statement. A peaceful transition of power in Senegal would mark a boost for democracy in West Africa, where there have been 8 military coups since 2020. Official results are expected to be announced by the Dakar Appeals Court on Friday. The United Nations Security Council has passed a resolution demanding a ceasefire in Gaza for the rest of the Ramadan. The Muslim holy month began on 10th of March and is set to finish on the 9th of April, meaning the Council is calling for a 2-week ceasefire, though the proposal said the pause in fighting should lead to a permanent sustainable ceasefire. The United States abstained from the vote with the 14 other Council members, including Russia, China, and the UK, voting in favor. The resolution also demanded the immediate unconditional release of all hostages not linked to a timeline and emphasizes the urgent need to expand the flow of humanitarian assistance to the Gaza Strip. After the vote, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu cancelled a planned visit to Washington by delegation as the United States withdrew from its consistent position in the Security Council. Time now to join Emmanuel Fashemi for the latest in sports.
Coach Randy Waldrum has extended invitation to Captain Rashidat Ajibade, US-based African Queen Asisat Oshola, and high-riding goalkeeper Chiamaka Nadozie among a group of 22 players for the two-legged Paris 2024 Olympics final qualifying fixture against South Africa next month. Saudi Arabia-based defender Ashley Plumter and veteran rear guard Osinachi Ohale are also called, as well as youthful midfielder Deborah Abiodun and forwards Esther Okoronko and Uchenna Kanu. There are recalls for 2019 World Cup star Chidima Okeke and veteran forward Chinwendu Hezu, and a first invitation for the under 20 defender Shukurat Oladipo. The Super Falcons are at home for the first leg scheduled for Friday 5th April at the MKO Abiola National Stadium Abuja before flying to Pretoria for the return leg at the Loftus Versfeld Stadium on Tuesday 9th April 2024. The winner will earn one of Africa's 2 tickets to this year's Women's Olympic Football Tournament, while Zambia and Morocco will clash for the other ticket on the same date. Waldrum has also kept faith with regulars like wingback Michel Alozie, midfield Lichpins, Christy Uchebe and Halimat Anyide, and forward Gov't Monday. Former Chelsea and Arsenal left-back Ashley Cole has become the latest player to be inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame. The 43-year-old won the Premier League title 3 times, twice with Arsenal and one with Chelsea. He was part of the 2003-2004 Arsenal Invincible team and made 385 Premier League appearances in total. He scored 15 goals and provided 31 assists in the Premier League and was named in the PFA Team of the Year on 4 occasions. It's humbling and fulfilling to be rewarded at the end of your career, Cole said. Cole becomes the 22nd Premier League Hall of Fame inductee. The Hall of Fame recognizes and celebrates individuals who have an exceptional record of success and have made a significant contribution to the Premier League since its inception in 1992. It is the highest individual honor awarded by the Premier League. All inductees receive a medallion engraved with their name and the year of their induction, along with a 10,000 donation made by the Premier League to a charity of their choice. And that is sports. I am Emmanuel Fashimi.
Well, we wish the Super Falcons good luck. And with that, we have come to the end of the news at TV tonight. Do not forget to follow us across all our media platforms and join our YouTube for more news, programs, and documentary. On behalf of all the team behind the scene, I am Eugenia Abu. Thank you for watching.